New book. I have an alien simulator. I want to conduct experiments and research in Douluo with peace of mind. It would be even better if I could have 3 or 2 friends to communicate and progress with him. Unfortunately, looking around the Douluo continent, Yi Li was disappointed to find that no one could keep up with his footsteps, and no one could even understand his words. So, for the sake of his own selfish interests, Yi Li had no choice but to push this world horizontally and rebuild a new civilization that could keep up with his exploration of truth. Book Friend Group 978838095 Keywords of the novel. Douluo Zhi Li Huo no pop-ups, Douluo Zhi Li Huo TXT Complete Collection Download, Douluo Zhi Li Huo Latest Chapter Reading. Chapter 1. Opening of the Heavenly Collapse. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1. Opening of the Heavenly Collapse. Jindo Empire, Barak Kingdom, on the outskirts of a remote small town. Because there are not many resources nearby and it is not close to the Soul Beast Forest, it is rarely visited by humans during normal times. But a month ago, the tranquility here was disrupted by a group of uninvited guests. Cough. A skinny middle-aged man with gray hair and a white face pushed open the wooden door of the wooden house, stretched lazily, and wanted to express his life's admiration towards the setting sun that was about to set in the west. But the sudden piercing pain in his chest made him involuntarily cover his chest and cough a few times with a painful expression on his face. Sitting not far away, Yi Li, who was decocting medicine, heard the familiar cough and helplessly said, "Teacher, if you're feeling unwell, just stay in the room and rest." Pooh. Pooh. Who's feeling unwell? Your teacher, I'm in good health. Upon hearing his disciple's comforting words, the middle-aged man's somewhat weak face immediately froze and he loudly retorted. He is a notorious demon wolf outside, with a level 48 agility attack soul sect. Just stand there and you can stop children from crying. How could you possibly admit to being physically unfit in front of your own disciples? You're doing well, but my medicine is almost ready. Remember to finish drinking it later, teacher, before you eat. Yi Li has long understood the temperament of his own teacher in these 8 years of life, and he is a stubborn and face-saving person. In his 8 years of life, Yi Li had never seen his teacher compromise on his words, even when facing the threat of death. Of course, the body will still be very honest and immediately refuse to run away. The demon wolf's face, which had originally appeared somewhat pale due to the injuries on his body, turned even paler upon hearing Yi Li's words. He has tried that medicine before, and it is so difficult for anyone to drink. He believes that even if those Ban Douluo come, they will definitely vomit the medicine back. However, in the face of the painful reality, if you want to survive, you have to drink medicine. He can only mutter to himself, "Damn the Ansa family. They should all die. Die. Die." At the same time, he turned around and went to the kitchen, stirring up the food. Only delicious food can help him overcome that damn, unpleasant medicine. Yi Li looked helplessly at the back of his teacher who had left like a child. In these 8 years of life, he always felt that he was the adult and the teacher was just like a child. Even though I am only 14 years old now, in my past life, I am just a carefree and healthy child growing up under the protection of an ivory tower in school. Sigh. However, it has been 8 years. Unconsciously, I have been living in this Douluo continent for 8 years. I almost forget that I am a traveler. Speaking of which, compared to the protagonists in the fan novels of Douluo continent in their past lives, the beginning of my own time traveler can be said to be a landslide. Crossing is not a fetal crossing, but a memory of a past life awakened only after the awakening of the original 6-year-old martial soul. Martial soul is not a top-level martial soul, it is just an ordinary flame. Although named Li Huo martial soul by oneself, its innate soul power is only 5 levels, and it cannot be considered a cultivation genius. Soul Master, Great Soul Master, Soul Zun, Soul Sect, Soul King, Soul Emperor, Soul Saint, Soul Douluo, title Douluo. I estimate that my innate soul power will reach its peak when I reach the soul saint level according to normal cultivation progress. I am far from those predecessors who will definitely become titled Douluo through time travel. Moreover, the original body is only the son of an ordinary villager in an ordinary village, without any identity as the son of the head of the Hidden World sect, and the village is not a holy soul village. Moreover, 8 years ago, shortly after awakening the martial soul, the original body of this body was massacred by a soul emperor in the entire village. Only he survived because of the characteristics of the martial soul, hidden in the cellar and not discovered. As a result, I instantly returned to my orphan status. And the teacher I finally met was a person who carried several family pursuit orders. Although the cultivation of soul power is in the soul sect, it is much better than the great soul master with 29 levels of soul power. But Yi Li couldn't help but sigh again as he remembered his life of constantly running for life over the past 8 years. For 8 years, every day when I wake up, I am either running for my life or on my way to escape. Recently, I have improved my medical skills and poisoned a group of people, intimidating them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had a peaceful month's life. To treat the poison on the teacher's body. Thinking of this, Yi Li continued to adjust the level of soul power output in his hand, in order to control the firepower of the decoction. Although the awakened martial soul was just an ordinary flame, due to its connection with the fire martial soul, Yi Li found that he could easily control the flames. It just takes a bit of energy. Basically when controlling the flames, I don't have the extra energy to control my body to move significantly. In practical combat, this ability can be described as a weakness. It can only be used for decoction here. The medicine in this clay pot is a specially formulated antidote based on the toxicity of the blue poisonous clan poison mentioned by the teacher. As long as it lasts for 3 treatment periods, it ensures the teacher's physical and mental health without any toxicity. It's just that the medicine is a bit bitter. Remembering the face of the teacher drinking medicine, Yi Li's face showed a smile. 10 minutes later, Yi Li extinguished the flames and took out the bowl from the soul guide ring where the teacher was drinking medicine. Gulum poured a pot of gray-yellow medicinal liquid with eerie blue bubbles into a bowl. Gollum. The overly seductive blue bubbles floated and burst in the grayish-yellow liquid, spraying out black mist that curled up above the medicine bowl. It looks like an extremely unknown and eerie creature hidden in the medicinal liquid, playfully extending its tentacles and dancing around, highly ornamental. However, Yi Li has become accustomed to this and has not shown any ambiguous smile. Just silently counting the time in my heart, waiting for the most appropriate time for the change in the properties of this bowl of medicine, sprinkle the last dose of medicine powder that has already been prepared on top and complete this final decoction. Sprinkle white medicinal powder on top, like water sprinkling on hot oil. Pai li pa. Countless eerie blue bubbles exploded, splashing out strands of black mist, appearing somewhat eerie and terrifying. The color of the medicine changes even more dramatically. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, purple, red, crimson, 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 and reddish-brown all colors came to join the fun, making this bowl of ordinary medicine magnificent and exciting. The color change lasted for a full minute, and the black mist had become extremely dense over the medicine. A pitch-black patch covered the medicine in the bowl. Sure enough, the medicinal herbs in Douluo continent are incredibly mysterious. Just some herbs that cannot be called heavenly and earthly treasures have such magnificent changes. TSK. Yi Li, who had already stood far away, praised the magnificent and exciting changes in the medicinal liquid. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Recalling the Past. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Recalling the past. Beautiful changes are always short-lived, once it is confirmed that the medicinal properties have stabilized. Yi Li took out a large fan that was 1 person tall and fiercely slapped the black mist floating above the bowl. 8 years of life as a fugitive have allowed Yi Li's physical strength to be trained to be comparable to that of an ordinary strength-type soul master. Therefore, even if Yi Li stood 5 meters away from the medicine bowl at this moment, the black mist above the bowl mouth was fanned away by Yi Li and gradually dispersed in all directions. ZZ. Although most of the black mist gradually dissipated into the air under the strong fanning of Yi Li. But there is still a small amount of mist that splashes onto the nearby grass when it spreads in all directions. With just a slight touch, the blue-silver grass, which was originally shining with a delightful vitality, grew gray and withered. Its toxicity is strong, making Yi Li stand in the distance and see that the force of the fan in her hand cannot help but increase. After a full minute of fanning, the black mist above the medicine bowl was completely blown away. Just the surrounding grasslands inevitably lead to a withered outcome. Regarding this, Yi Li expressed that he has become accustomed to it. It's even a pity that if you have the right equipment to collect these black mist, you will have more means to deal with the enemy. At least this thing can poison a soul sect without any problem. Putting away the fan that was 1 person tall, Yi Li walked to the front of the medicine bowl, rustling through the withered grass. I saw the medicine in the bowl, and its color had become normal. Colorless and clear. If you give it to an uninformed passerby, you will definitely believe that it is just a bowl of ordinary plain water. And it will not be associated with the withered grasslands around it. Unfortunately, when there was color just now, the medicinal properties were the best. If the teacher were willing to drink the newly made medicine, the poison would have been relieved long ago. Looking at the bowl of medicine in her hand, which was as clear as water, Yi Li sighed with regret. But it doesn't matter, as long as the teacher finishes drinking this bowl of medicine, the poison can still be relieved. Teacher, it's time to take some medicine. Creak. Yi Li held the medicine steadily with one hand, opened the wooden door of the kitchen, and shouted to the teacher with a smile. Knots. The demon wolf, holding a spatula in one hand and a vegetable plate in the other, couldn't help but tremble when he heard Yi Li's shout. I felt a piercing cold all over my body, suddenly spreading from the end of my spine to the depths of my brain marrow. The cold made the demon wolf unwilling to turn around and face the terrifying medicine. Why did other people make mistakes and they were studying medicine and prescribed medicines that were normal? In my heart, I regret why I agreed to let Yi leave to learn that medical skill. But when she spoke, her words turned into, I see. You put the medicine on the table first, and I'll stir-fry this last dish before drinking. Okay, teacher. Yi Li is very familiar with the teacher's temperament. Although she likes to have a tough mouth, she still drinks medicine when it's time to do so. Just give the teacher some private space. Yi Li thought of the painful scene when the teacher first drank this medicine, and his smile on his face was a bit bright. Therefore, after placing the medicine on the nearby table, Yi Li said goodbye to the teacher and left the kitchen. Creak. After Yi Li left, the cold body of the demon wolf only warmed up a bit. Just when I saw the medicine that Yi Li had placed on the table, the bitterness on her face became even stronger. I really want a disciple with normal medical skills. Outside, Yi Li, the disciple of the demon wolf, was busy tidying up the remnants of the decoction. Find a place to bury the clay pot for decoction. Because the medicine that was decocted for the teacher included many toxic body materials in the formula, such as the bumps on the body of the poisonous clam, the venom in the venom sachet of the thousand strange grass snake, and the scorpion tail of the rock clam scorpion. These medicinal herbs are good antidotes when used in the right amount, but once they are overdosed or the amount of a certain medicinal herb is reduced, it can turn the antidote into a poison. Therefore, basically every time the medicine is decocted, the clay pot needs to be changed. The place where the clay pot was buried is not far from here, and in addition, Yi Li has done this many times. Practice makes perfect. Just dig a pit, bury the pot, and step on the soil. Get things done in 3 minutes. After the matter was settled, Yi Li came to a big tree not far from the kitchen. With his legs slightly bent and his thighs exerting force, Yi Li easily jumped onto the tree trunk. Lie on top. The big tree has lush branches and leaves. Lying on it, riding the gentle breeze blowing from afar, bathing in the beautiful sunset, listening to the rustling sound of leaves being blown by the wind. Yi Li feels that life is still so beautiful. It's as if those 8 years of escape had never happened before. If at this point, it would be even better to have another book in hand. It's best to have a book that he hasn't read yet. Since he decided to start studying medicine, Yi Li has been collecting all the medical books he can come into contact with. Whether it's running for life or recuperating. Yi Li exchanged all the wealth he collected from his anti-killing enemies for corresponding medical books, in addition to retaining necessary cultivation and living needs. Unfortunately, this world is due to the existence of martial souls. Especially in the auxiliary soul masters, the development of medical skills here is very slow due to the presence of therapeutic martial souls. At least compared to his past life, he is more than 108,000 miles away. But Yi Li thought about the various martial souls in this world. It seems that there is really no urgent need for the upper echelons of this world to develop medical skills. Not to mention the fusion technique of Ning Rongrong and Oscar's martial souls, the Great Resurrection technique, which appeared in the ending of the novel. In the early stages of the novel, there was also the healing scepter of Jiangzhu and the top-notch healing ability of Nine Hearts Begonia. Moreover, there are definitely healing soul masters in the families that pursue him and his teachers. Otherwise, how could the number of people poisoned by oneself be so small? At least, the younger generation on their side will be completely poisoned by him. However, after the teacher's injury recovers, I should reduce my focus on medical skills and instead focus most of my energy on cultivation. After all, arriving at this magical Douluo continent, one will never be willing to work hard and move forward. Yi Li's expression relaxed as he looked at the sunset that had already fallen halfway, silently thinking to himself. Sure enough, facing the sunset, it is impossible to have the aura of a little meaning in your heart, a boundless passion begins. Shaking his head, he threw out the strange thoughts in his mind. Yi Li turned his head to look at the kitchen. It's getting dark, why hasn't the teacher come out yet? Is the medicine I decocted for the last time really so unpleasant? It shouldn't be, the teacher probably didn't know that I added some ingredients to the last dose of medicine. With the teacher's shallow medical knowledge, I will definitely not be able to discover the material I added. However, according to the usual pattern, the teacher should have finished drinking by now. Did something happen inside? Pop. Not good, something's wrong. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Injury Recovery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Injury Recovery. Yi Li's martial soul was instantly released, and a yellow flame emerged from his right hand. A yellow century-old soul ring slowly unfolded on Yi Li's body. The ever-changing yellow light shines brightly, adding some light to this remote suburb that is almost at night. Paired with Yi Li's short black hair and jewel-like blue eyes, she has a handsome appearance. If this outfit were placed in a past life, it would definitely attract many envious gazes. But at this moment, Yi Li had no intention of paying attention to her appearance. But with inner worry, he lifted his soul power and quickly rushed towards the kitchen. Damn it, what I added was only the blue poison flower accompanying the blue poison clam, which has the effect of regulating toxins and increasing soul power. It can be considered a half-genius treasure. Combined with the specially prepared auxiliary medicine, it will stimulate the full medicinal power of blue poison flower. Enable it to have a certain increase in soul power even for the Soul King. But why did the teacher have an accident? Did you make a mistake in calculating the amount of medicinal herbs, or did you make a mistake in your own decoction technique? Damn it, this is clearly an experiment, it's safe and harmless. Teacher, never have an accident. With a burning heart, Yi Li's soul power kept surging under his feet, and his soul ring shimmered with light. A small flame erupted under his feet. Apply a reverse thrust force to Yi Li's explosion. Make Yi Li's straight line speed comparable to that of a typical soul master in the sensitive attack genre. In just a few seconds, Yi Li crossed the long distance between the big tree and the kitchen wooden door. With a shoulder bump, she slammed open the kitchen wooden door with a loud bang. "Teacher, you're okay. Right." The demon wolf inside now covers his throat with both hands and vomits painfully towards the ground. He spat out clusters of black and blue venom. Make him feel that all the toxins accumulated in his chest have been eliminated from the body. I feel a surge of chest relaxation. After a brief moment of chest relaxation, what comes immediately is an overwhelming bitterness. Even though he has suffered several times from the torment of Yi Li bitter medicine, he can't bear it at this time. This is simply not something that humans can withstand. Ouch. It's too painful. The demon wolf fell to the ground in pain, and the food on the table was smashed to the ground with a loud bang. If he sees his meticulously cooked food lying on the ground, he will definitely be furious. Making exquisite food is one of his few hobbies. But at this moment, he has no strength to focus on these small things. He is now suffering from the pain of that medicine and is almost exhausted. It is even more bitter than Huanlian, with an unknown amount of bitterness. It roams freely on the mouth and tongue of the demon wolf, causing them to have the illusion that death is better than death. Fortunately, this overwhelming bitterness came and went quickly. When Yi Li knocked open the wooden door and anxiously called out to the teacher, the demon wolf felt a gentle soul power suddenly spreading from the poisoned area in his chest. Warm and cool, like a refreshing spring in summer, spreading gently from the chest towards the surroundings. Let the demon wolf, who has just suffered the bitterness of human torture, let out a comfortable moan. Under the stimulation of this warm and cool soul power, the fire demon wolf's own martial soul disease involuntarily possessed its martial soul. A faint red light was first released from the center of his forehead, following the position of his eyebrows all the way up and into his hair. The hair of the demon wolf was originally gray, but when the red light was injected, it instantly turned fiery red and quickly grew longer. At the same time, fiery red hair appeared on his bare hands and feet. My body has also expanded a lot compared to before, and it looks more muscular than my originally lean body. Both hands and feet have undergone a wolf-like transformation at different levels. The sharp wolf claws shimmered with sharp rays of light. There are 4 halos rising from his feet, constantly hovering up and down from his feet to his head. 1 white, 1 yellow, and 2 purple, although not the optimal soul ring ratio. But among the strong members of the soul sect, it can also be considered a good soul ring ratio. This is also something that Magic Wolf has always been proud of. But at this moment, the demon wolf had no intention of boasting about his soul ring ratio. He could feel that under the influence of that warm and cool soul power, his soul power level was slowly but firmly improving. Level 48 soul power, level 49 soul power, level 50 soul power. This makes the demon wolf, who has not improved in strength for a while, ecstatic. 8 years of life as a fugitive have left him with numerous internal scars and accumulated numerous minor and hidden injuries. Despite his appearance, his body is still very strong. But he knew that his body could no longer withstand more devastation. Even during meditation practice and soul power operation, there is a faint pain inside the body. But now, the demon wolf only feels refreshed and full of inexhaustible energy. Under the warm and cool soul power, the large and small dark wounds inside the body were mostly healed. The rest, as long as he takes a break and recuperates for a period of time, he believes that his body will once again return to health, truly healthy. Not to mention the soul power level that has remained unchanged for a long time, now it has surged from level 48 to level 50 in one breath. Just hunt another suitable soul beast to obtain a soul ring, and he will become a soul king who can also be considered a strong one on Douluo continent. How could such a joyful event not make him ecstatic and refreshed? Sure enough, Shi Li became his disciple, which was the most right thing he did in his life. By the way, where did ye leave? At this moment, Yi Li, the demon wolf's longing, was preparing dinner outside. The original dinner was lost because the demon wolf fell to the ground. So he was making sure that the teacher was fine, and even his soul power fluctuated steadily upwards as he wished. Just carefully close the wooden door and quietly guard outside. Also barbecue some silly rabbits caught nearby for dinner. Dinner is still something to eat. Otherwise, I'll be starving at night. However, during the barbecue, Yi Li, who had stored the soul beast meat stored in the soul guide, couldn't help but think of the painful feeling of the teacher vomiting on the ground. I have never seen that painful expression on my teacher before. Even if I used to boil medicine for the teacher to drink, the teacher's face turned pale at most, his eyebrows furrowed a bit, and his muscles twisted a bit. But today the painful expression on the teacher's face was more than 10 times distorted than before. Is it true that the medicine I specially decocted is too bitter? Yi Li thought to herself about where she could improve her steps in decocting medicine, and skillfully took out a bottle of homemade barbecue powder from the storage soul guide. Purple barbecue powder is applied to the soul beast meat, creating a dreamy purple glow. Make Yi Li feel like she's using magic instead of ordinary barbecue. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Go to the Starry Forest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Go to the Starry Forest. Barbecue powder is just a byproduct produced during an unexpected experiment by Yi Li. The raw materials are not considered precious, they are just applied to soul beast meat to make the grilled meat more delicious. Now Yi Li is thinking about how to improve his level of decoction. Although good medicine tastes bitter, I personally don't like to drink bitter medicine, it's still the kind that is particularly bitter. Yi Li doesn't like it either, and he doesn't feel like he won't get hurt, sick, or poisoned in the future. In order to ensure that I will not drink bitter medicine like my current teacher in the future, Yi Li felt it was necessary to improve his level of decoction. At least we need to improve the taste, don't be so bitter. Did the teacher succeed? Yi Li, who was thinking, suddenly realized that the teacher who had been emitting soul power fluctuations in his perception had suddenly disappeared. Of course, it's impossible for the teacher to be missing. That means the teacher was successful. Yi Li smiled happily on his face, stood up, and prepared to go to the teacher's place to congratulate him. But just as he straightened up, Yi Li felt a piercing chill suddenly enveloping him. The piercing chill was like walking on a deserted road, suddenly being stared at by a lone wolf. But there are no people or soul beasts around here. Why do I have this feeling? Is that so? Yi Li, whose mind was spinning extremely fast, instantly figured out who was standing behind him. I also know what the teacher standing behind him wants to do. It is an individual who has experienced the bitterness that is even more terrifying than death and wants to do something to the initiator. Not to mention a teacher with a bad temper. But I didn't mean to. Yi Li anxiously opened his mouth and said, "Teacher, listen to me explain." Ah. Bang. Bang. Ah. Ah. After a friendly interaction between Yi Li and the teacher ended, Yi Li sat by the fire with a dejected expression, picked up the meat cooked by the teacher, turned grief and anger into appetite and took big bites of the grilled meat. Its posture is as if the grilled meat is the enemy of some mortal enemy. Just the two big panda eyes on my face are a bit disruptive to the atmosphere. Teacher, what level of soul power are you at now? Yi Li, who was eating grilled meat, suddenly asked the demon wolf curiously. Although Yi Li knew that the teacher's soul power level had definitely increased, and the increase was not small. Just look at the smile on the teacher's lips all the time to know. He just doesn't know how much level of soul power the teacher has improved. After all, his strength is not yet sufficient, and he has not personally tried the medicinal effect of the blue poison flower. So now Yi Li is curious about how much level of soul power the teacher has improved. The demon wolf, who was roasting meat, did not speak when he heard his disciple's curious question. Just a proud and coquettish palm gesture towards Yi Li. Level 50. Teacher, congratulations. Although Yi Li had some expectations for the soul power enhancement effect of blue poison flower, he also did not expect to be able to increase soul power by 2 levels. Blue poison flower is not a natural treasure, it is just a companion flower of an ordinary millennium soul beast. The blue poisonous clam is average in all aspects except for its strong toxin. And the soul power level of the teacher's demon wolf is still soul sect. He thought that he could increase his soul power by 1 level, but he didn't expect to be able to increase it by 2 levels. This makes Yi Li very happy about the improvement of the teacher's strength. The demon wolf looked at his disciple's happy expression and was moved in his heart. In the past 8 years, if it weren't for Yi Li's hard work in learning medical skills, I'm afraid his body would have been buried in a corner long ago. And if my son hadn't died, he should have been as old as Yi Li. He, who is naturally stubborn, can't even utter a few words of emotion in his mind. After twitching his mouth a few times, he could only hold it back and say, "Ollie, it's been over a month since your soul power level broke through to level 20. Have you figured out what kind of soul ring you want?" Due to Yi Li's love for reading, his understanding of soul beasts and martial souls is now higher than his. Now he can only rely on his own soul sect strength to hunt suitable soul rings for his disciples. In terms of soul ring selection, I am inferior to my disciples. But at the very least, I need to make the soul ring ratio of my disciples better than myself. After hearing the teacher's words, Yi Li paused, feeling happy for his teacher's improvement. In the Douluo continent, hunting soul rings is definitely the most important thing for every soul master. In the Douluo continent, soul masters can hunt for a soul ring every 10 levels. Soul warriors can upgrade to soul masters, and soul masters can upgrade to great soul masters, all of which can absorb a century-old yellow soul ring. In fact, according to the description in the novel, the first soul ring has a lifespan of 423 years, and the second soul ring has a lifespan of 764 years. The first soul ring, due to my strong request, had the teacher help me find a nearly 400-year-old yen wolf. Obtained the first soul ring. Although there is no limit to approaching the lifespan of the soul ring, Yi Li is already very satisfied. The first soul ring obtained by the protagonist Tang San in the original work has a similar lifespan. The acquisition of the second soul ring, although it is unknown how long the original protagonist has absorbed the soul ring. But I don't think it will be any less than 764 years. Therefore, Yi Li's preferred soul ring has a lifespan of about 700 years. Although he really wants to approach the limit of soul ring lifespan, neither the teacher nor he is someone with extremely rich theoretical knowledge like a master. It's simply impossible to accurately identify the age of most soul beasts. Yi Li didn't want to accidentally absorb soul rings that had exceeded the age limit and blow his head off. As for the type of soul beast, as long as it has the ability of fire element, it is fine. Anyway, one's martial soul is a flame, and as long as it is a flame-type soul beast, one will not have repellency and can absorb it. After telling the teacher about his requirements for absorbing soul rings, the demon wolf just nodded and continued to barbecue the soul beast meat in his hand. Although I don't know why my disciple requires a soul beast that must be around 700 years old. But after 8 years of interaction, the demon wolf believes that his disciples will never do anything without confidence. So as a teacher, he only needs to help his disciples hunt soul beasts and successfully absorb soul rings. Anyway, as long as it's not the dark gold terror claw bear, the top-level soul beast that can withstand 100 years of hard steel for 10,000 years. He can even bring it for his own disciples. But after careful consideration, he said to Yi Li, "Since that's the case, then go to the Starry Forest, where there are many types of soul beasts, and you can completely carefully select them. Moreover, the Ansa family happens to be on their way to the Star Forest, hee." Speaking of which, the demon wolf sneered. Yi Li thought for a moment about the pain his teacher felt when he was poisoned by the Ansa family a while ago. And some of the things they did on the pursuit road, their expressions also turned cold. Yi Li nodded and agreed with the teacher's decision. The Ansa family, after chasing them for so long, it's time to pay the price. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Ansar family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Ansar family. The next day, after the routine meditation practice was over, Yi Li and the demon wolf packed all the useful items into the storage soul guide. Because I often have to carry buckets and run away. Many things have been packed for a long time, making it convenient to pick them up and run away at any time. So it only took over half an hour, except for the large items such as wooden houses and medicine gardens that cannot be taken away. Everything has already been collected by Yi Li and them into the storage soul guide. Standing at the crossroads of the road leaving here, Yi Li followed the morning sunrise and looked at the wooden house that had been living here for a month with some nostalgia. Although the conditions here are simple and there are not many people. You have to go hunting and picking fruits yourself to eat. But he really enjoys the life here. Here, there's no need to worry about enemies suddenly appearing. With a roar, open your martial soul and fight to the death against them. There will also be no enemies hiding in the dark, ready to poison and assassinate them at any time. Here, he only needs to wake up early every day carefree to water the medicinal herbs, lie under the shade of the trees, and read. Then enjoy the delicious food carefully cooked by the teacher. Sometimes even medicinal herbs that are not recorded in books can be found here. This kind of life, Yi Li feels very fulfilling and happy. But Yi Li knew that he could have a peaceful and fulfilling life for this month. It was his poison that deterred the enemy and won it. Once they find a solution to the poison they have caused. My peaceful and fulfilling life can be overturned at any time. Only by mastering strong abilities can one live the life they want in this Douluo continent. So even if she missed it again, Yi Li only took a deep glance and then left with the teacher. The demon wolf walking in front with a negative hand looked at his disciple's nostalgic gaze towards the wooden house, and the relaxed and happy smile that Yi Li often wears on her face over the past month. That is Yi Li, whom he rarely sees. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. If I were even stronger, how could I let my disciples escape with him for 8 years? But he is now 40.8 years old, although with the help of his disciples, his strength has surpassed that of the Soul King. But he knows that his bottleneck lies here. The impact of 8 years of life as a fugitive cannot be cured by a simple blue poisonous flower. But Yi Li is different, he still has a bright future. He is still young. And if that person hadn't lied, perhaps this trip to the Ansar family would have given their disciples the opportunity to rival the geniuses of those Soul Master Academy. Carter City, in the Red Leaf Tavern. After leaving the place where they had lived for a month, Yi Li and them were dusty all the way, rushing on all night. Finally, a week later, I arrived at the city of Carter, where the Ansa family was based. Carter City is a small town with a small population of only a few tens of thousands. Moreover, the resources near here are not very abundant. So business is not very developed either. Under normal circumstances, it is rare for strangers to appear in Carter City. So from sitting in the afternoon until now, Yi Li often felt someone peeking at him. However, in those prying eyes, Yi Li felt only curiosity. No malicious intent was detected. So let them alone and not take care of it. Of course, this is also because Yi Li deliberately changed her makeup and appearance before entering the city, and did not appear here in her original appearance. Otherwise, Yi Li believed that not long after sitting here, there would be a soul master from the Ansa family coming to kill him. Carter City, but the city they control, is full of their eyeliner. I just don't know how the teacher's investigation is going. Before entering Carter City, the teacher said he wanted to step on some and touch the situation of the Ansar family. Let him wait for him at the Red Leaf Tavern first. Although Yi Li was curious about what the teacher was going to step on, looking at the teacher's expression, it seemed like there was something hidden. So Yi Li didn't ask much, so he came to this Red Leaf Tavern and waited for it himself. Moreover, sitting here is not something that cannot be done, one can only sit still. Because the moon has only risen for a while now and is not very deep, there are many customers in the Hongya Tavern. They are all busy people who have been busy enough during the day and come here at night to talk nonsense. Therefore, at this time, the Red Leaf Tavern was very lively. But suddenly, a group of people walked in from outside. Unlike most customers of the Red Leaf Tavern who wear ordinary clothes, the clothes they wear are gorgeous and not ordinary at first glance. There were a total of 5 people walking in, 2 teenagers, 1 girl, and 2 adult men. The appearance of young girls in their 20s is on par. However, the blue-clad boy led by him had a gloomy temperament, like a venomous snake in the shade, lacking the vitality of the other 2 young girls. The big man looked like a guard, only guarding behind them in pairs, silent. The tavern owner quickly walked out to them after seeing them and their group. The courtesy of nodding and bowing is unbearable. And other people drinking here, when they saw the blue robe on the boy in blue, their faces slightly changed. The noisy voice couldn't help but decrease. Even if there are friends around who are drunk and unable to see the situation clearly, they continue to make noise. They will also be forcefully pulled by someone who is still conscious, covering their mouth. There is no one in Carter City who can make the owner of the Red Leaf Tavern so humble that others are afraid, except for the local Ansar family. The martial soul of the Ansa family is the Blue Poison Clan. The young man in blue clothes has a blue robe with a pattern of the Blue Poison Clan patterned with gold lines on his chest. It is the legitimate members of the Ansar family who are allowed to wear clothes. The young men in blue stood there for not long before they were escorted up to the second floor by the tavern owner with a smiling face, bending over. The second floor is the accommodation area, much cleaner and quieter than the first floor. What are the people of the Ansar family doing here? Accommodation. The environment here cannot compare to the houses of the Ansar family. Come and chat with a brothel worker. Red Leaf Tavern doesn't offer this kind of service. Yi Li watched with some confusion as the blue-clad boy and his group were led upstairs by the tavern owner. However, doubts come from doubts. Judging from the age of the blue-clothed boy and the clothes that represent the identity of the legitimate clan, his status in the Ansa family should not be low. So as they passed by Yi Li's table, Yi Li calmly placed something on them. It's non-toxic, just a little powder. But if Yi Li adds something specific, the non-toxic powder will turn into deadly anesthetic. Even soul masters, once touched, will numb their bodies and be slaughtered for a period of time. But as long as Yi Li doesn't add another component of this special anesthetic, it's just a common powder. After 3 days, it will dissipate automatically. So even if the Ansa family is a poison martial soul family, they have a better understanding of poison compared to other families. But Yi Li is confident that they will never discover these little things they have laid down, nor will they. This is Yi Li's confidence in studying medicine for 8 years. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The Decline of Ansa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The Decline of Ansa. Originally, Yi Li was sitting here just to wait for some collateral members of the Ansa family to secretly add some incense powder. Attach to him, bring him back to the family, and take the opportunity to spread it to the entire Ansar family. When the teacher steps on it better, it will be much easier to get started. However, it was unexpected that the collateral clan members did not wait, but the legitimate clan members discovered one. Therefore, Yi Li rudely sprinkled fragrant powder on him. Now all you need to do is wait for this blue-clad boy to return to the Ansar family and let the incense powder spread throughout the entire Ansar family. Yi Li is not afraid that the fragrance powder will be washed away by water. Make his plan useless. In order for this specially made anesthetic to achieve its own effect, Yi Li Xian spent a month crushing the blue and white flowers he accidentally discovered into powder and extracting 2 substances. Its paralyzing ability has an effect on the soul sect. After Yi Li arrived in this world, he discovered the plant with the strongest paralyzing ability. But if it is simply used in practical combat, it will hurt both oneself and others. Because so far, Yi Li has not found a way to relieve its paralysis ability. So Yi Li Tsai spent a month grinding the paralyzing parts into powder and extracting 2 substances. This is also Yi Li's luck. The paralyzing ability of this blue and white small flower relies on the combination of these 2 substances to have the ability to paralyze the soul sect for a period of time. Of course, in order to accurately locate these 2 substances, it also took a lot of effort from Yi Li. After successfully separating what you want, the only thing left is how to enhance its combat capabilities. For example, how to accurately spread it to the people you want it to spread, remove its vulnerability to being easily washed by water, compress its fragrance until it becomes tasteless. This is obviously even more difficult, so it took Yi Li almost a year to successfully turn it into the function he wanted. And this is also the basis for Yi Li and his teacher to have the confidence to destroy a soul master family with a soul emperor, who is not even a soul master or a great soul master. Unfortunately, these blue and white small flowers should have been accidentally mutated by nature. Yi Li and his teacher, the demon wolf, searched around for a long time, but only found 8 small flowers and couldn't find them again. In order to maximize the success of annihilating the Ansa family, Yi Li took out all the special anesthetics in his hand. The vast majority are handed over to the teacher, the demon wolf. The teacher, the demon wolf, is a sensitive attack-type soul warrior, more suitable for secretly drugging than him. The remaining small bottle is in Yi Li's hand. Let's see if we can do anything. Watching the young man in blue disappear from the top of the stairs, Yi Li took a sip of tea. Although I don't know why the legitimate members of the Ansar family come here at night. But after successfully applying the fragrance powder, Yi Li became uninterested. Now, all you need to do is wait for the teacher to successfully step in and start the anesthesia plan officially. Kill this Ansar family. However, it seems that I haven't named this special anesthetic yet. When Yi Li conducted experiments, he named them Special Anesthetic No. 1 and Special Anesthetic No. 2. There was no specific name given to this special anesthetic. However, after this battle, the specially made anesthetic is likely to disappear. It is a bit regrettable not to give it a good name to commemorate it. At least it took me a year of time and effort to make it. Yi Li looked at the direction of the blue-clad boy going upstairs. Since it was about to disappear due to the death of the Ansa family, let's call it the Withering of Ansa. The Withering of Ansa. The more Yi Li muttered about his new name in his heart, the better he felt. When the teacher comes back, tell him this name too. I believe the teacher will also like it. After the blue-clad boy and his group went upstairs, the somewhat oppressive atmosphere in the Red Leaf Tavern dissipated. The others breathed a sigh of relief and dared to speak up. Just when speaking, I unconsciously lowered my voice and didn't dare to make loud noises like I did just now. Yi Li, who had seen all of this in his eyes, had an indifferent gaze. Yi Li has become accustomed to the phenomenon of ordinary people being afraid of soul masters. In Douluo continent, soul masters are towering and possess powers that ordinary people cannot resist. Ordinary people in front of soul masters can only bow down and dare not have any intention of offending them. Because if ordinary people provoke a soul master or encounter a soul master in a bad mood, being beaten up is lucky, while those who are unlucky are all dead. This is the situation of ordinary people in Douluo continent facing soul masters. The village where Yi Li was born was slaughtered because the food served in the village did not suit the taste of the soul emperor. However, Yi Li still feels a bit uncomfortable in her heart. His worldview, sense of life, and values have already taken shape in his past life. Arriving at the Douluo continent, where class is fixed and ordinary people will never be able to turn over in their lifetime. He felt out of place and couldn't integrate into the world at all. However, with weak strength and no ability to change the world, one can only endure and pretend to be able to adapt. Over the past 8 years, I have endured it, and become accustomed to it. Besides feeling a bit uncomfortable psychologically, that's all. After the members of the Ansa family went upstairs and left for a while, the atmosphere on the first floor of the tavern gradually returned to its original state. Those who boast continue to boast, those who go crazy with alcohol. It has returned to its original lively appearance. Regarding this, Yi Li did not pay much attention. Now, what Yi Li cares about is only the safety of the teacher and the learning of knowledge. After realizing that his talent was not very good, Yi Li chose to change his destiny by learning knowledge. The knowledge of past lives changes destiny, and the belief that knowledge is power is too profound. Yi Li naturally chose this path. It has been proven that knowledge is indeed power. If it weren't for mastering the knowledge, I and my teacher would have been chased by the soul masters of those families and exposed in the wilderness. How could there be a situation where we can have back and forth with them now, and even fight back and forth? Even now, can we come up with a plan to eliminate the Ansar family, the soul master family? So, knowledge is power. As long as you find the right way, knowledge can become power. However, I don't know how many books the Ansa family has, especially about the knowledge of soul beasts. My current knowledge reserve of soul beasts is almost unable to keep up with my own strength progress. The teacher's knowledge reserve of soul beasts is really depleted. With just a little squeezing, they can no longer extract any more oil or water. Yi Li's current knowledge reserve in medical skills can be said to be profound, but his knowledge in soul beasts and even soul masters is very weak. Otherwise, it wouldn't be impossible for the teacher to give an accurate answer when asking about the choice of the second soul ring. They could only search one by one to the Starry forest. Alas, sometimes I really want to kidnap the master and let him give me a good lesson on soul beast knowledge. Unfortunately, the soul masters around the master are either protagonists like Tang San or soul masters at the level of Soul Saint Soul Douluo. I have no chance to intervene. Sigh. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Luan Ling'er. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Luan Ling'er. Just as Yi Li was feeling guilty about not being able to invite the master to class, a group of people suddenly walked in outside the Hongya tavern. It's also 5 people. But the girl who took the lead was a girl. Goose egg face, cherry small mouth, rough waves, fair and tempting, big long legs. These labels, as long as an ordinary woman has one, can attract the attention of some male creatures. Not to mention when these tags are all gathered together in the same woman. Therefore, when the girl and her group walked in, the whole room fell silent because of her beauty. Carter City is just a small town, where ordinary people have never seen real beauties. The most insightful thing is that they have met some slightly attractive prostitutes in Golan. So it was only when the girl and her group appeared in this Red Leaf Tavern that they exhibited such unbearable behavior. For such a beautiful woman, Yi Li, as a member of a male organism, could not have been an exception and not been caught in the eye. Just when Yi Li saw clearly the appearance of the young girl who came in, and the badge tattooed on her silver-white dress chest, I furrowed my brow secretly. Luan Ling'er from the Luan family, what is she doing in Carter City at this time? The Luan family is a family of the Wind Chime City, with the clan leader being the controlling Soul Douluo of the Wind Chime Martial Soul. In the entire Douluo continent, it is also somewhat famous. At the same time, it is also the strongest family among the families that pursued Yi Li. It is precisely because of them, Yi Li and his teacher Mo Lang, that they were forced to flee for their lives in these 8 years. It can be said that Yi Li is currently the most powerful enemy. But recently, the elite competition for Advanced Soul Masters Academy across the continent will only open in 3 months. Why are they coming to Carter City instead of preparing for the competition in Barak City? The elite competition of Advanced Soul Masters Academy across the continent is a grand event for the entire Douluo continent. Every time the event is held, many people come from afar to watch. Among them, there are also Soul Masters who participate in the Advanced Soul Master College competition across the continent, and most of them are outstanding and talented Soul Masters from various Advanced Soul Master Colleges. Many Soul Masters, clans, and nobles attend the competition at this moment with the idea of recruiting one or two geniuses. Although top talents cannot be recruited, it is a special event belonging to the Star Luo Empire, the Heavenly Do Empire, and the Martial Soul Hall. But there are still opportunities to recruit some geniuses who are just one level behind. The Luan family, where Luan Ling'er is located, also belongs to the family that is qualified to recruit talents in the elite competition of the Advanced Soul Master Academy across the continent. Moreover, Luan Ling'er is the vice-captain of a participating team at a senior Soul Master College, and the Battle Soul Master of the 35-level Control Department. Shouldn't she be blending in with her team at the Soul Master Academy now, preparing for the elite competition of Advanced Soul Master Academy across the continent? With inner doubts, Yi Li continued to look behind Luan Ling'er and the group of people. Beside Luan Ling'er, there was also a tall girl who followed her into the Red Leaf Tavern. Wearing a blue dress and the emblem of the Blue Poison Clan, she showcased her identity as a legitimate member of the Ansa family. Ansa is the leader of the younger generation of the Ansa family. His martial soul is a rare and benign variant of the Tian Lien clan, a healing-type martial soul, and a level 32 soul master. However, I am already a bit old, 25 years old, and I cannot participate in the elite competition of Advanced Soul Masters Academy across the continent. But at the age of 25, the 32-level Healing Soul Lord is the absolute leader of the younger generation in the small family of Ansa. Even the young leader of the 36th-level War Soul Lord, who was previously killed by Yi Li, cannot threaten her status. At the same level, healing-type Soul Masters will inevitably receive more respect from other Soul Masters. Because no one knows which day they will need the help of a healing Soul Master. Therefore, after Ansarova appeared at the Red Leaf Tavern, the already somewhat quiet Red Leaf Tavern suddenly fell silent without any noise. Ansar, who was walking beside Luan Ling'er, frowned slightly unconsciously. She didn't like it, but she couldn't change it either. In Carter City, their Ansar family is heaven. Ordinary people standing near them are all atmospheric and don't care about breathing, fearing to provoke the Soul Master of the Ansa family. After a slight sigh in her heart, she began to think about how to do what she promised her brother well. Create opportunities for his brother to make Luan Ling'er develop a favorable impression of him. The remaining three were all older Soul Masters. Yi Li looked at them and found that they were all old acquaintances who had participated in his pursuit. 2 Soul Sects, 1 Soul King. It's really troublesome now. That Soul King is a sensitive attack-type War Soul King, and the Martial Soul is a shadow dagger that can use shadows to conceal its movements. If he cannot be killed immediately, he will search for shadows to hide and wait for an opportunity to assassinate. He is a very disgusting type of Soul Master. And his arrival means that Yi Li and his team not only have to face 1 Soul Emperor and 3 Soul Kings from the Ansa family, but also have to be careful of the assassination in the shadow of a sensitive attack-type War Soul King. The plan to destroy the Ansa family for Yi Li and them added many variables out of thin air. Moreover, Luan Ling'er's Wind Chime Martial Soul also effectively restrained his poison. When a strong wind blows, it is easy to not know where one's poison powder has been blown. He hasn't yet gained knowledge about hidden weapons. However, this also answered Yi Li's question about why there were legitimate members of the Ansa family who came to stay at the Hongya Tavern. Because the martial souls of the Ansa family are blue poisonous clams, the houses they have lived in for a long time always emit a strange smell. It smells very unpleasant. So anyone who is not part of the Ansar family can live in other places, just other places. The owner of the Red Leaf Tavern once again humbly led Luan Ling'er and her group to the second floor. The guests on the first floor of the tavern showed a hesitant expression on their faces. If they were just members of the Ansa family living in the Red Leaf Tavern, they could still relax and eat and drink on the first floor. Because the sound insulation facilities on the first and second floors are well done, they will not disturb the esteemed Soul Master. Although the Soul Masters of the Ansa family have a bad temper and often poison ordinary people. But those who can come to the Hongye Tavern for consumption are at least people with some status, so they won't be poisoned by the members of the Ansa family at will. But within just 10 minutes, another member of the Ansa family appeared at the Red Leaf Tavern. Although he is a famous genius healing soul master in the Ansar family. On weekdays, their reputation is better than that of other members of the Ansar family, and there have been no rumors of indiscriminate poisoning of ordinary people. But in the eyes of ordinary people in Carter City, the members of the Ansa family have always been the bullies they cannot avoid. Afraid of being implicated, it will lead to a tragic ending of family ruin and people's demise. Therefore, in a short period of time, 2 members of the Ansar family appeared consecutively at the Red Leaf Tavern, who were still the esteemed soul masters. They finally dare not continue to stay here for pleasure. So soon, some guests quietly checked out and left. The owner of the tavern, who came down from the second floor, looked at the gradually decreasing number of customers with a tearless expression on his face. But he dared not show a displeased expression towards the soul master who caused this situation. I could only sigh and admit that I was unlucky, so I went to the counter to continue accounting. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Luan, Ling'er and Ansa Ruahua both appeared in the Red Leaf Tavern. It seems that something that Yi Li doesn't know has happened. Although Yi Li is a bit curious. But what he cares more about at this moment is opportunity. The withering of Ansa, produced by Yi Li, is not only a means of spreading medicine personally. Long-term contact can also be used to transmit the withering of Ansa to specific targets. It only takes 2 people to stay for more than 3 minutes, and the withering of Ansa can be transmitted from one person to another. So just let Yi Li find the right target, and the withering of Ansa can infect others level by level. Capture all the members of the Ansar family in one fell swoop. As the healing soul master with the highest level of soul power in the Ansar family, Ansar Ruahua usually interacts with high-level members of the Ansar family. So she can be said to be one of the best medication targets. However, at this moment, Luan Ling'er and the Shadow Dagger Soul King around her were in a bit of trouble. Luan Ling'er's Wind Chime Martial Soul has both wind and sound attributes, making it easy to detect the medicinal powder in the air. And the physical fitness of the Soul King itself can be easily detected with just a slight movement. Yi Li is just a soul master, but he cannot give him the withering of Ansa without disturbing the Soul King. Unless the withering of Ansa is pre-placed on other people and then transmitted to them through the transmission mechanism of Ansa's withering. Otherwise, the difficulty of administering medication may be a bit high. It seems that we can only wait for her to come out or for the teacher to come back. But you can also make some preparations first. Yi Li's expression was somewhat strange as he took out something from the storage soul guide and placed Ansa's withering inside. With a strange expression, he whispered, "I just didn't expect to use it for a day. It feels strange." Yi Li felt a little flustered as he touched the thing he had hidden in his clothes. The curse of this thing is really a bit unsettling. But this was a way he could think of in a short period of time, to openly administer medicine to Ansarohua. So after muttering in my heart that I would never use it again, I continued to call the waiter to serve the wine. After drinking for more than 10 minutes, Yi Li's heart suddenly moved and he heard the sound of walking in high heels from the second floor. After Ansarova went upstairs, there were no more people going up in the Red Leaf Tavern. Besides Ansarohua, Yi Li did not see any other woman walking in high heels. So, Yi Li's eyes flickered as he took out the powder box hidden in his arms. Pretend to be a man who likes to put on makeup and start applying powder to yourself. Although there are fewer men who like to put on makeup at this time, there are still some people. So the few remaining customers in the Red Leaf Tavern who haven't left, although it's strange that this ordinary-looking young man actually likes makeup like a woman. But I just looked at the precious species with the same eyes and didn't say anything. The people with big mouths have all left, and those who don't want to leave have also been pulled away by friends. So I kept paying attention to Yi Li around me, and when I saw no one talking, I breathed a sigh of relief in my heart. Just their seemingly precious gaze at the species still made Yi Li's cheeks a little hot. He felt like he was boiling in a hot pot every second. Fortunately, Ansarova's figure quickly appeared at the top of the stairs. Because Yi Li's location happened to be the necessary passage for people going downstairs to go out, she immediately noticed Yi Li applying fragrance powder. Although even men in the family like to put on makeup due to the influence of martial souls. The blue poison clam's soul beast has a habit of smearing mud on its body. But it was the first time she had seen a man outside her family putting on makeup. So as she passed by Yi Li's side, she couldn't help but curiously glance at Yi Li's appearance. Ordinary and even a bit ugly. No wonder you know how to put on makeup. Only this young lady is naturally beautiful, with smooth skin and no need for makeup. Ansarohua mischievously came up with this idea in his heart. However, Ansarohua felt that her idea was a bit offensive to the self-esteem of others, so she mischievously stuck out her tongue and silently apologized. Of course, Ansarohua still walks past Yi Li with a cold and proud face on the surface. No one knows her cold and proud appearance, hiding a mischievous heart. After Ansarohua left, Yi Li finally put away the frightened expression on his face, leaving only the remaining panic on his face. Vividly portrayed the panicked reaction of ordinary people when they learned about their makeup, with members of the Ansar family passing by. 8 years of experience in running for life have made Yi Li's acting flawless. There is no problem concealing the people of the Ansar family. After collecting the powder box, Yi Li called the waiter to settle the bill. Although I successfully brought down the withering of Ansar onto Ansar Ruahua. But at this moment, he couldn't feel happy at all. Looking at the strange look in the eyes of the waiter who came to pay the bill, Yi Li felt that his reputation had been tarnished. Fortunately, I have changed my face before, otherwise I would have really jumped into the yellow river and couldn't wash myself clean. And Yi Li felt the powder box inside her clothes, making up her mind to throw it away the next day. And this matter, the teacher cannot tell either. If the teacher finds out about this matter. The teacher not only has a hard mouth, but also a big mouth. Yi Li only had a slight imagination in his mind about the strange gaze that the teacher might face when he found out about this matter, and his body couldn't help but tremble. No, I can't throw it away tonight. No, destroy it. After returning to the Ansa family mansion, Ansa Ruahua was called to the conference hall and asked to recount every detail of her conversation with Luan Ling'er at the Red Leaf Tavern and Luan Ling'er's response. Luan Ling'er suddenly arrived at Carter City at this moment, not to mention that Yi Li was strange, even the Ansa family was caught off guard. Shouldn't she stay at the Advanced Soul Master Academy to prepare for the upcoming elite competition in mainland China? So upon learning that Ansarohua had returned, the Ansarohua clan leader immediately called Ansarohua to the conference hall to figure out what the sudden visit of the Luan family was for. Although Ansarohua felt a bit strange in her heart, she obediently spoke out all her conversations with Luan Ling'er. There was no concealment, including helping my brother approach Luan Ling'er. Ansarohua's account lasted for 10 minutes before the chief of Ansarohua allowed her to leave. Big brother, may the Luan family's Luan Ling'er come to us for that thing at this time. In addition to the clan leader, there is also the second elder of the Ansa family in the conference hall, Ansa Tree Mountain, and the 52nd level strong attack series War Soul King. The martial soul is a powerful clam. Although the figure is like a toad, it is short and round. But his strength ranks among the top 3 in the Ansa family. It is the absolute core high level of the Ansa family. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The Extermination of the Door. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The Extermination of the Door. 3rd, you make sense. Although our Ansa family is somewhat famous in the Barak Kingdom, compared to the Luan family, which has a Horcrux's seat, our Ansa family is nothing. The only thing that can attract the talented girl from the Luan family at this time is probably that treasure. Chief Ansa sighed as he sat on the main chair. Although the Ansa family was known for their reputation in Carter City, in the eyes of the Luan family, who were occupied by Sol Douluo, they were just a larger ant. If it weren't for the east wind that chased Yi Li 3 years ago, they wouldn't have had any interaction with the Luan family. Big brother, what should we do? That's a guarantee that our family can continue to thrive in the future. The second elder patted his plump belly with a worried expression on his face. They finally managed to establish a relationship with the Luan family. If they refuse at this time, all the previous efforts may be in vain. Luan Ling'er is the granddaughter of the Sol Douluo in the Luan family. But the continuation of the family cannot be abandoned. The concerns of the two elders are understandable to the leader of the Ansa clan, but do they really have the right to refuse due to the weak strength of the Ansa family? Sigh. The night is getting deeper and deeper. The next afternoon, Yi Li and the teacher who returned late last night arrived at a tea house near the Ansa family mansion. Quietly drinking tea, waiting for the time when the withering of Ansa spreads throughout the Ansa family. Teacher, what did you do last night? You didn't come back until 3 or 4 in the morning. Yesterday, the teacher set off early to go hiking, and according to reason, he should have returned early. The teacher is a sensitive attack-type soul warrior, who is about to break through and become the Soul King. At the speed of the teacher, half a day is enough to complete the entire Carter City. There is no need to wait until 3 or 4 in the morning to come back. So Yi Li was a bit curious about what the teacher did last night. What are you doing? It's not convenient for you to know about every child's family. The demon wolf glanced sideways at Yi Li and could tell his disciples that he suddenly felt lonely last night. After taking the medicine, he went to talk to the little sister. And because the little sister's skills were too advanced, did she accidentally stay there for a few more hours? As a teacher, it is necessary to keep disciples who are still children away from the corruption of these adults. And uphold one's dignity as a teacher. Seeing that the teacher was unwilling to speak up, Yi Li had no choice but to stop asking. And last night he looked a bit dazed because of the powder box incident, not noticing the strong aroma on his body when the teacher returned late at night. He thought it was because the teacher had been exposed to the withering of Ansa too many times that the fragrance on his body was so strong. And speaking of it, whether in his past or present life, he has never been to a romantic place like Gulen. They only hear their names and never see their people. The demon wolf breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that his disciple had not been entangled with last night's incident. As a teacher, I should have preserved my authority. However, in order to divert the attention of my overly intelligent disciple and not keep thinking about what happened last night, the demon wolf's eyes turned and he took the initiative to start the conversation. Ollie, you're also 14 years old now. As an ordinary person, you're already married and have children at your age. How about that? After finishing this vote, should you go and get a wife? After speaking, the demon wolf signaled with a cunning gaze to Luan Ling'er who came out of the Ansa family's mansion. Yi Li looked at the teacher helplessly. What you said, teacher, seems like a flag. I still want to continue living. Moreover, Yi Li looked at Luan Ling'er's appearance, which was fair-skinned, beautiful with long legs, and also the pearl of the soul master Sol Douluo's palm. If married, it can definitely make people struggle for several lifetimes less. But what about beautiful women, can they eat? Can you make yourself stronger? Why do we need a beautiful woman? So Yi Li ignored the teacher's teasing and said, Teacher, Blue Bamboo Bird is already excited and going crazy. Let's get ready to take action. Before entering Carter City, Yi Li caught a blue bamboo bird from outside the city and enhanced its sense of smell for Yi Blue flower with a specially made powder. The blue bamboo bird is just an ordinary animal in Douluo continent, not a soul beast. Yi Li caught it because it likes to eat Yi Lanhua and has evolved a strong sense of smell for it. Even at an altitude of several hundred meters, it can accurately smell the fragrance emitted by Yilanhua. The blue and white flowers that produce the withering of Ansa are derived from the variation of leaf blue flowers. So the blue bamboo bird was caught by Yi Li as a tool to test the withering of Ansa. The more the blue bamboo bird goes berserk, the more people in the Ansar family are infected with the withering of Ansar. Now the blue bamboo bird has gone crazy, its eyes are red, and its beak is frantically pecking at the bird cage. Well, when the little boy from the Luan family takes her soul king a little further away, we'll start taking action. Speaking of business, the demon wolf has also returned in a serious manner. After the soul king of the Luan family leaves, the Ansa family now only has one soul emperor and one soul king left. The eldest and third elders of the Ansa family led a team to the soul hunting forest to obtain soul rings due to the breakthrough of the family's soul master. One was not in Carter City a few days ago due to the family's grain trade in Soto City. Although even the less powerful Ansa family, a soul sect and a soul master, wanted to destroy it, others only thought it was a shameless joke. But with Yi Li's withering of Ansa, the soul king of the Ansa family is just an old man who cannot use his soul power in the eyes of the demon wolf. Yi Li nodded, although she was very confident in her withering of Ansa. But he is not a person with a quick personality. It's better to add a bit of confidence to him. Time passed by slowly, and the sun hanging in the sky finally moved a little westward, making the weather even hotter. Yi Li looked up at the sun. They were originally covered by a greenhouse, but the sun had shifted. I can't block the sunlight anymore. However, Yi Li looked at the teacher sitting opposite him, and Luan Ling'er had already left for some time. He, good disciple, let's take action. The expression on the face of the demon wolf was already impatient, and the thought of being able to destroy the Ansar family that had been chasing him for so long made him extremely excited. The waiting just now was just a result of years of caution cultivated by running for life. And now, it's time to start collecting debts. The two stood up and took out a few copper soul coins to settle the bill. Then, with smiles on their faces, the master and disciple walked towards the entrance of the Ansar family's mansion. Stop. This is the residence of the Ansar family. Idle people are not allowed to approach. What are you doing? The gate guard of the Ansa family saw Yi Li and the other two suddenly approaching with unknown smiles on their faces, and suddenly shouted angrily. Yi Li ignored the eviction in the words of the gate guard and just smiled leisurely, saying, "We are here to destroy the door." End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Start of attack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Start of attack. Before Yi Li could finish speaking, the teacher, the demon wolf, was already possessed by his martial soul and rushed towards the two people guarding the gate. Without using any soul skills, a pair of wolf claws tore them apart and inflicted serious injuries. Yi Li couldn't help but shake his head when he saw this. The teacher was too anxious and didn't wait for me to finish pretending to be forced before he started. However, Yi Li understands the teacher's eagerness for revenge. During his 8-year career as a fugitive, most of the attacks and assassinations were actually aimed at his teachers. Even a few who aimed at Yi Li were fiercely resisted by the teacher, making it rare for Yi Li to be injured in the past 8 years. But the teacher is different. Poisoning and fractures are common injuries for teachers. I get seriously injured almost every few months. Especially 3 years ago when the Ansa family joined the pursuit camp, the teacher has been in excruciating pain for the past 3 years. Poison is not just about causing pain. So Yi Li just took out a bow and arrow from the side to guard the sneak attack behind the teacher. Revenge is really satisfying. Ollie, let's kill in now. The demon wolf let out a few strange smiles, his eyes filled with the pleasure of fighting. Well, but pay attention to soul power consumption, teacher. Don't worry, teachers all know. The demon wolf patted his chest to show his concern for his disciple, indicating that he knew everything. For today, he had already put his leather armor inside his clothes, ready to fight at any time. But after the demon wolf touched his head, he burst out laughing heartily. I took out a wolf-headed helmet from the soul guide. Put it on your head. Then put specially crafted wolf claws on the double claws. The clanging sound of the metal collision between the wolf's claws revealed the pain and pleasure of the demon wolf's desire for revenge in his heart. After seeing that the teacher was fully armed, Yi Li nodded and followed behind the teacher, who suddenly rushed towards the door of the Ansa family. He is just a soul master now. No matter how much armor he wears, it is useless to meet the Soul King and Soul Emperor. It's better not to wear it and reduce some weight for yourself, making it easier to dodge. Bang! The door of the Ansa family mansion, made of mahogany, was suddenly grabbed by the teacher's 2 claws and shattered into 4 pieces, falling to the ground. Ha! Old Toad, your grandfather's demon wolf is here. Come out and die for me. Due to the relationship with the blue poison clam martial soul, Chief Ansa has an insulting nickname outside, called Old Toad. In addition, the person wearing a wolf helmet broke open the door of the family as soon as they arrived, arrogantly calling out the insulting nickname of the clan leader. So soon, the guards of the Ansa family rushed over from all directions and surrounded Yi Li and his group. For these ordinary people who are not even soul masters, Yi Li and Magic Wolf did not care. They don't have any hidden weapons in their hands that can threaten the soul master. If the number of people is less than 1,000, they won't be able to threaten the soul sect, especially the quick attack soul sect, which excels in speed. As for Yi Li, the guards who had just surrounded Yi Li and them for a short time suddenly felt an itch on their bodies, as if something was flowing out of their noses. The captain of the guard, who was dressed in gorgeous armor, reached out and wiped his nose. I found a touch of red on my hand. Poisoned. The first thought that came to mind in the captain's mind was this. As a family guard known for his poisonous martial soul, he also has a certain understanding of poison. But at this moment, he had no idea when he was poisoned. So the second idea that came to his mind was, when did I get poisoned? Pop. Before the captain of the guards could finish thinking, the dozens of guards surrounding Yi Li and others collapsed on the ground without awakening their lives. Since Yi Li can make Ansa's withering, this kind of anesthetic that can have an effect on both the Soul King and the Soul Emperor. Nature can also produce anesthesia that can numb ordinary people. However, Yi Li looked at the guard who had fainted on the ground. The dosage of medication used by oneself is still too strong, otherwise these guards would only faint and there would be no nosebleeds. Pop pop. Deep in the yard, a middle-aged man with a slightly greenish-white face walked out of the shadows, clapping his hands. Little Poison Lang's poison technique truly lives up to its reputation. As the guardian of my Ansa family, I have been trained in poison resistance since childhood. Ordinary poisons on the market cannot poison them at all. I didn't expect them to be under Xiao Du Lang's command, but they couldn't even hold out for one turn. What a waste. At the end, the middle-aged man, also known as the leader of the Ansar tribe, had a look of disgust in his eyes. They spend a lot of money training guards, just to be able to play some role in the event of external invasion. But now they were poisoned in the first round and had no use at all. It's not just waste. Yi Li ignored the praise of the chief of the Ansa tribe and only stood behind the teacher, hiding his figure. The Ansar family has dozens of soul masters, but now only one Ansar clan leader has emerged, which looks like an ambush no matter what. The demon wolf also realized this, so his claws tightened and his soul ring shimmered with light. Whenever there is something wrong, use soul skills to protect Yi Li, who is still a soul master. Upon seeing this, Chief Ansa smiled and said, "Don't worry, we didn't ambush. Your master and disciples suddenly broke in and killed our guards. We don't have time to prepare for an ambush." Yi Li still ignored, just tightening the strings of his bow and arrow, ready to shoot at any time. The arrow flickered with a green luster in the sunlight, indicating that it had been heavily poisoned. Chief Ansa looked at the bow and arrow in Yi Li's hand with some fear. The Luan family had a soul king who was too confident in his martial soul to pay attention to the bows and arrows shot at him. As a result, the grass on his grave is now 3 meters tall. As a result, Yi Li was given the nickname of Little Poison Lang. So, among the 2 masters and disciples of Yi Li, the one he fears the most is Yi Li. No one knows what kind of poison will appear in the hands of this person who has a strong talent in poison art. Even the elders of the Ansa tribe believe that they suddenly attacked their Ansa family at this time. Absolutely, Yi Li's poison technique has made some progress, and he has invented some highly poisonous substances in his hands. Make them believe that even if the Soul Emperor is hit, they cannot win the favor. So now he dare not let the low-level soul masters in his family come over. He was afraid that the enemy would kill him, but all the low-end soul masters in his family had died. This is something he cannot tolerate. And isn't the Soul King of the Luan family in Carter City? Just now he had the soul masters in his family go out to find them and come back. At that time, they will have 1 Soul Emperor, 2 Soul Kings, and one of them is the Soul King of the Quick Attack series. I can definitely kill Yi Li and these 2 people here. So, now he just needs to take time off. After waiting for a while, Yi Li, who was tightly bowstring tied, realized that there was no ambush at all. On the contrary, the leader of the Ansa tribe across from him was speaking non-stop. There is no intention of coming over at all. Are you procrastinating? End of this chapter.